pending. The chair lays out Senate Bill 207 by Senator Hinojosa, and this is a sunset bill. The Office of Inspector General of the Health and Human Services Commission recognizes Representative Gonzalez to lay out the bill, and we're working with him. This is something that I've had interest in for a long time. We've had, through the 3 sessions that I've chaired this committee, we've been dealing with this agency, and it needs a lot of work. I think that we're moving in the right direction. I appreciate your leadership on this.
Yes, sir. Well, it is. Here is your opportunity, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the year and a half that you and I are on Sunset together, and 4 as we worked through a lot of this. Let me just get to this bill right away. The Health and Human Services Commission, Office of Inspector General, prevents, detects, and investigates fraud, waste, and abuse and other allegations of wrongdoing in the health and human services system. Fiscal year 2014, OIG had 774 staff and operated on a budget of $48.9 million, a growth of nearly 30% since 2011. In its first review of OIG, conducted as part of the Health and Human Services Commission review, the Sunset Commission found deep management and due process concerns, particularly in the OIG's efforts to detect and deter Medicaid fraud, waste, and abuse. OIG's investigative processes lacked structure, guidelines, and performance measures to ensure consistent and fair results. These significant concerns and vague accountability for OIG demand attention so we can appropriately ensure the integrity of programs in the health and human service system. This is, as you know, members, a very lengthy bill. As the chairman referred, this is probably years in the making, and we've nibbled around the edges on this for a very long time. This is the sunset bill. So let me tell you what it does very briefly. It strengthens the accountability of the OIG. It clarifies roles of the Executive Commissioner and OIG to improve accountability, coordination, and oversight while ensuring independence of the OIG investigations. It improves the effectiveness of OIG through a series of process improvements to measure and achieve better results. Members, part of the problem is the time frames from which the OIG is able to complete preliminary and full investigations. We address that in this bill. We address basic management practices, including establishing prioritization criteria and performance measures for investigative processes. We require the OIG to conduct quality assurance reviews for its sampling and methodology used in the investigative process. This bill streamlines the credible allegation of fraud, CAF, payments hold process. It clarifies the definition of fraud, and it strengthens the audit appeal process for pharmacies to promote greater independence in decision making. It's the Senate bill as it came over, Mr. Chairman, had 10 amendments that were added in the Senate. There may be a couple more things we need to look at, as you said a second ago. Certainly willing and look forward to those comments and make this bill as good as it can be. Members, the process has been a very tough one for a lot of our participants and for a lot of our vendors. We've all heard stories for years and years. We've worked very hard to put something in place that will enable us to go forward and make sure the system works the way that we want it to work. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I will yield and hopefully invite someone to come and help me answer some questions.
We don't have any witnesses. We have several people who signed up, members that are for the bill but do not wish to testify. There's some who are on the bill. Well, those are Sunset Commission and Human Services Commission staff and the Executive Commissioner who are listed as resource witnesses. But I would like to, as I mentioned, work with you some on this, and Senator Hinojosa and I spoke today. We're going to visit tomorrow, hopefully. Good. For example, I just want to take a little closer look at it. I know the Senate does great work, and they sent us a bill that they amended 12 times, the sunset bill, and so I'm sure it's better. But you know, we might be able to make it just a little better. I'll give you a couple of examples. Some the Executive Commissioner may like, some that he may not like. I see him sitting over there. But for example, when it directs the executive commissioner in consultation with the IG to adopt rules or policies necessary to implement the power of the Office of Inspector General. I'm wondering if we shouldn't flip that around to where the IG does it in consultation with the executive commissioner. It's a nuance, but it's an important one. And then I'll give you another example where I would also flip it the other way, where we say the Commission's Office of Inspector General shall investigate, including by means of regular audits, possible fraud, waste, and abuse by managed care organizations. I think we need to talk about whether or not some of that is something that the executive commissioner and his folks are doing already, and whether in fact they need to take the lead more with MCOs because you're dealing with them so much. But anyway, I want us to talk some more about
Absolutely.
maybe making that a little bit better and reaching out both to the executive commissioner and to the Inspector General, get their thoughts on that.
Yes, sir. You've got about 149 colleagues of yours who respect the work you've done in this committee for a very long time. You've championed these issues for a long time, and I think we all respect everything you have to offer. So,
well, let me also mention, members. I mean, it's just been a mess, and I very much appreciate. I got to tell you, Ken Levine and his staff. I very much appreciate the Sunset Commission for their work on this, and Chairman Price over here, because there have been problems there for a while. And of course, they finally came out in the press.
Yes,
and
yes.
In some cases, the other law enforcement officials may be dealing with some of those folks. But we're trying to get this right. It gets back to what I said earlier about nursing homes. We want to make sure that we get this right. We had, just give you an example, members. There's a case that was pending that we've had the doctor here in front of us last session. She's been dealing with the IG for nearly 2 years. The IG takes her does payment hold, big time payment hold.
That's right.
Takes it to a SOA hearing, hired outside counsel, had the Attorney General, had the IG attorneys in there, had 3 judges at SOA, and those 3 judges, after a very long hearing, a trial basically, last week, ruled in favor of that doctor, said that there was no evidence whatsoever for any of the payment hold to have occurred. Directed that the payment hold be lifted immediately, directed that the state pay that doctor back $360,000 in legal fees, pay that doctor back $19,000 for the deposit she had to put up to be able to have a SOA hearing, and that's the kind of stuff, those are the kind of cases, that's not the only one that have been worked up. And it's not Stuart Bowen's fault. He wasn't here when any of that stuff happened. But I will tell you, and I know I've seen one of the folks here from the IG, I'd like to say, and I want to ask General Bowen, that before this session is over, I would like for us to have a meeting, a committee hearing, members, where we can get an update from General Bowen on the cases that are pending, because there are other cases like this that were handled wrong. And, when it was guilty before, you're guilty before anything else. And if you're guilty, then let's do something about it. But I think it would be very helpful to us to get a status on the pending cases. I know that even though we've had a change at the top at the IG's office, that there are still many people working there that worked up these cases. And I just had another representative today, come up to me, tell me that his constituent's been dealing with payment hold for almost a year, and that she won her case in front of the State Office of Administrative Hearing, and 8 weeks ago, and that they still haven't released the payment hold. Something's wrong, and so we got to clean it up. I hope this bill will take us in the right direction. Members, do you have any questions for Mr. Gonzalez? Because we don't have any witnesses. If you don't, is there anyone who would like to testify on for or against Senate Bill 207? If there's not, at this time, Chair will leave Senate Bill 207 pending, and we will vote this out very soon.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I look forward to your immediate help.